Hey, welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Intelligent Idea Talkers podcast for the week of, what's the date? Sunday, March 10th, 2019. Yep. I'm your host, D.
This is Juice.
And this, as of course, as you guys all know.
No alias?
Stuff.
Stuff.
Like, what was that movie, The Fifth Element, where you're just like, it's fine.
We have a master gardener on camera today, guys. Steph. Master
also
gardener.
The CEO of Signed to Myself LLC.
Signed to Myself LLC.
I'm about to get you the Arsenio fist bump. Yeah. Alright, guys, so welcome back. Thanks for joining us. So, today we're going to talk about Alita Battle Angel. I know Steph didn't see it.
No.
Steph, last chance. Do you mind if we spoil Alita Battle
It's
Angel?
all good. I'll watch it.
Alright, she said she didn't even know what it was, so it's fine.
I thought this movie was seriously tight, man. I really like this movie, man.
Yeah.
I was never bored. That's how I always judge a movie, is if I'm bored. If I ever feel like I want out of the movie. If you hold my attention the whole time, the whole 2 hours, it's a great movie, right?
Yeah.
Regardless whether it's action, suspense, a drama, a movie, whatever. But this movie was great, man.
Like the action
was all
of
off
it,
the hook.
the action in that movie was like probably in the top 5 of action shows I've seen. Of like fighting scenes and everything. Like the way they laid it out, the fights, the way her spontaneity in the movements and when she did, like it was cool because you could see in her face, like she didn't know she was about to do that.
And one thing,
and then she would toss the dude across the room, or like flip him, take a sword and hold to his neck. She'd be like, "Oh snap! Like, did I do that?"
And one thing I thought about, sorry, Steph, we're gonna let you talk in a second, Steph. Okay. One thing I thought about like CGI heavy movies is it's going to be hard to follow the action from point A to point B. Okay, she flipped him around, she took his head,
Yeah.
This was clear to follow. It was easy. Like, even though both characters that were fighting on the screen were CGI, there was no trouble following the movements of the character in the fight scenes.
And I don't know if you guys noticed, but like we see a lot of action movies and it's non-CGI movies, like regular movies. Like when they do action fight scenes and stuff like that, like they have this whole new thing where they have the jostled camera, where they're like,
what they call a shaky cam.
Yeah, the shaky cam, where they're like fighting, like, and the camera's shaking. You're like, oh,
right.
And that always throws me off. That kind of makes me miss the old school like kung fu flicks. Where the baby would just be in that jump. You have like the whole scene, baby there fighting in this. But camera.
Imagine how many takes they took on those movies.
Oh yeah,
man. Those movies probably took so many takes.
They probably did a whole sequence here.
Right.
They did do it from this angle, do it from this angle.
And you had to take certain shortcuts.
But it was cool though. I love it.
It was cool. It was cool.
The shaky cam, man, gets on my nerves.
Yeah, it does. It does, because it's easy to hide the mistakes with a shaky cam.
But Alita didn't have any of that. Alita was so clean and crisp. I don't know if it's because it's a CGI.
And one thing I liked about the movie, okay, spoilers, all right, for Alita Battle Angel. Like that guy who kept coming behind the eyes, what was his name? Nova? Or whatever it was?
Yeah.
Like, who was that dude? Like, how was he tapping into everybody's senses? Like, because, I mean, did they explain that everybody has, like, a computer chip in their head or something like that?
That is something they didn't
how
really explain, but you kind of assumed it. You can, like, kind of assume it, because, so the Alita world... Or
does he just have, like, mental powers where he can just,
the
like,
Alita
Charles
world
Xavier?
is a world laid out, like, I guess for based on explanation, the Alita world is a world laid out where technology is advanced so far where people are blending their bodies with technology. So there's a lot of cyborgs walking around, just kind of like in lower middle class. Probably lower class people just walking around with bionic arms because they work on a construction site, right?
Right.
So the arms like a jackhammer or whatever. Like that's the kind of world Alita set up in. So I assume there's some kind of like mental links they have to have those things work the way they want.
Off the cuff, kind of asking, like, just since you mentioned it, do you think that's the next step of like human? I don't want to say evolution, but like, are they going to be able to blend bionic arms onto people? Right? If somebody loses a hand, can you put a hand on them that can function like a human hand?
And at what point are people going to do that just because it'd be cool as hell to have a bionic arm?
I think that is a current technology.
But not as cool as Alita, but when they get as cool as Alita?
Mm-hmm.
You don't think they're there? Where they're like, think about how many muscles and tendons are in the human hand for you to be able to flex your fingers,
They definitely have some
stuff
out right now.
I think there's definitely a technology
prosthetic type
that's similar to that, and if not, it's there's definitely stuff that
they don't link it to the brains though. I think they link it to the muscles, which is
right.
They link it to your muscles or something like that. But
so
it's
it
not
can't function quite like a hand. Like you think, let me flex my hand and it flexes.
Yeah, and it's not as complex obviously as your hand is. But
it was tight though. Alita was tight. I mean, I love the action scenes. Obviously, I'm an action junkie. What do you think about her love interest in there? Like I was like, she's not even really a cyborg, even though she's classified as it because she has a skin. I mean, the only part of her that existed was this. So right, just her brain and that skin up here. So like he's kissing this thing. I'm like, how are y'all gonna? Okay, like you know how she got the alien battle suit, right?
Yeah.
They kissed after she got that suit, after the doctor put it on her, because her other body, spoilers, got destroyed, right? So I'm thinking like, is she gonna morph some female body parts in there? Remember how the suit like adjusted to her self-image of herself?
Yeah.
So it's like she's gonna morph something that like they can actually do this thing and make this a couple. You know what I mean? I don't know if I want to get graphic on camera.
That's a whole lot of like detail we didn't even like.
Can she morph?
They didn't even venture down that area,
right?
Like it was obviously. So part of my issue with the movie was because it was. I like action movies. I don't like romance movies. There was a degree of romance, of budding like nubile young
I felt
love
like it was forced too
in this show, and it was forced,
it was.
right? Because it was a little awkward in certain parts. Alita was weird. Like as a person, you can tell the like yes, they're playing the whole part where she's new into the world, trying to figure things out, and I get that. But damn it, she literally took her heart out of her chest and handed it to dude.
Right.
Knowing that first off, it's her heart.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, put that
You're
away.
gonna die without it.
Yeah.
Second off, everybody in the world is looking for that thing, and she's just like, "I'll give it to you," and
Why?
she's staring at him, and he's like,
Yeah, he's like, hey, you know what I mean? You should have took her heart out. You know what I'm saying? Right. That's worth that's worth the proposal.
They only at that point they only knew each other for like a week and a half.
And I'm like,
they knew each other like a week and a half, and he's like, okay, you know what? Put that.
It was kind of cool because it's like a machine with the ability to love. I like that angle.
Yeah.
Like she
cool.
fell in love. You know, she was a machine. I know Steph doesn't know what we're talking about, or we're gonna move quickly along with the Alita thing. But it was a cool movie. We had to cover it.
Yeah.
But she was a machine with the ability to love. She fell in love. I don't know if I was on board with the love because it's a human and a machine. How can this work? Like I don't.
Well, luckily we found out it didn't matter.
It didn't. And then even at the end, like, okay, spoilers. But he turned into a machine. I'm like, huh?
Right.
So she walked out there. Was his? So wait a minute. Was her heart? Did she stick her heart inside his head to carry it? Because remember, his head was hooked up to her chest, and she walked out of the thing with his head.
There was so much going on with this movie.
It was, and they didn't explain a lot. But it was awesome.
He died. Essentially, he was pretty much dead. Doctor popped up, was like, I like you now. Because they used to be enemies. We're cool now. Cut your head off.
Right.
Stick it in your jacket. Cut his head off. It was like, oh no.
It's like, all right, yeah, let's mutilate his body.
It was walk off with his head. I don't know. Steph's looking at us like we crazy.
I think you would like the movie, Steph, because visually it was interesting and it was a strong female lead character. I love the leader, man. I'm like, I can't wait to see the next one.
Head in her jacket.
So who was the
main
who were
bad guy?
the actors and like who
It's probably a bunch of no-name
Mahershala Ali was in it. He was a villain in that joint.
I liked him.
And he was
when he first walked in, I was like, fake ass Blade. You know what I mean? Like I was like, yo, who's this Blade?
You heard they talking about Blade. Mahershala Ali for Blade.
Oh, he looked just like him. He looked just like Wesley Snipes in that.
Pull that joint off.
Dude.
I don't know, but Wesley Snipes could actually fight. That's my only issue.
Right.
I don't know if Mahershala Ali's got any like skills.
And the only other guy that you would recognize is who's the guy that played the doctor that was repairing everybody? I forget his Christoph Waltz.
Yeah.
And he played in a lot of Quentin Tarantino movies. Django. He was in Django. He was the shoe carrier, fixer guy, whatever, in Django. And other than that, it's a bunch of no-name kind of actors.
I forgot he was in Django. Yeah, you're right.
I think they Jennifer Connelly was in it, and she was in a bunch of movies. That was the mom or whatever. I don't know what movie she was in.
All in all, the designs in the movie were beautiful, man. Like the action movie.
I think you would like it.
Like the CGI was so pretty. Like the action scenes when they're skating, everything was so smooth and clean.
The only thing that made me mad,
there's so much money put into this movie, and I don't think they wasted it, man.
It was a rack of money put in.
A lot of people liked the movie. Like I definitely liked it. Even with my the parts I didn't really buy as far as the romance and stuff. The story building was reasonable, and I thought it was all in all a pretty good movie. So out of 10, I give it like a cool 8, which is a good.
I give it an 8, 7.5, 8. I mean, I thought it was awesome, man. I like the way it ended. I can't wait to see the next movie.
Yeah,
because
Edward Norton popped up at the end.
Norton. Okay, I forgot he was in there. All right, like Edward Norton popped
up at the end, man.
So this is the guy who's been tapping in everybody's head.
Saw that coming.
All right, so I got a couple numbers here, and this is from Box Office Mojo. as of today, Sunday, March 10th, domestically, Alita has done $78,346,064. So it's 20.5% of the total world budget or world gross is coming from domestically. Okay. So that's kind of bad because the U.S. audience didn't break it down. It was on a budget of $170 million production budget, but you have to probably add 20 million to that unseen cost. That was the initial production budget. So maybe you say 200 million. So as of right now, they've made 382,659,000. And you know what they say in movies? You have to break even, right? So you have to earn the money you spent on it plus times 2.
Double. Right.
Well, that's just business.
Right, that's just business. So you have to be profitable on it. Worldwide foreign gross is $304,313,053. So I like that because anime is popular around the world. Japan, China.
Oh.
And
so is this like anime?
It was based off
an
anime and a manga.
Yeah.
And the comic.
I do want to watch the cartoon. I do want to watch the anime. I almost called it a cartoon. I'm sorry, guys.
I don't know if this is probably another spoiler, and I don't know much details on it, but I was looking at buying the omnibuses for Alita, the comic, because it looked interesting. I'm like, this part is cool. I want to know the rest of the story. Turns out what we saw in the movie was the first part of the last book of 12 omnibuses before.
And I definitely want to know more about the Moon
Wars. There's so much going on. Yeah, there was a Mars, a Moon
Right,
War.
I want to know. I'm like, where is...
all this shit happened. And
so
then we saw
this is going to be a series.
It has to be, unless they don't make their money.
But a series from the end.
That's what I'm worried about. They're not going to make their money, and they're not going to make another movie, because this movie was definitely expensive, man.
I actually like it better when they start at the end.
Yeah.
When they tell the story from the end and then bring you...
You can't say that about Game of Thrones, though. Hey, and for all my Game of Thrones fans, if we're on Alita, you got to put Alita in the in the title for this video. Steph, Game of Thrones, April 14th. You know what I mean? We all in there. All right, we've been waiting 2 years. Let's do this.
I need to see this.
They dropped that trailer 2-3 days ago. Come on, bruh. Let's do it.
But
I know I'm gonna get you started with Game of Thrones, but this is Alita stuff, okay? Do a little shout out and let's move on, okay?
I feel like it's something really special when they start at the end of a series and then go forward. Star Wars did that. Star Wars started at the end.
I don't think they meant to in the beginning though.
Okay. Yeah, I think those kind of.
But they did it, and it added to the lore, and it made it cooler because you saw where it was going. Now, how do we get there?
I love when they take Lord of the Rings, right? Mm-hmm. They take a universe which is a literary universe which is massive, and they take the most interesting arc of that universe, and they take elements from stuff nobody knows about and put it in the movie, right? It makes you more curious about the rest of the universe, because that's what Star Wars was, right? They took this one part, the Empire War whole thing, but that's just a fragment of
the larger universe
of a massive world,
bro.
Right?
You're an amazing storyteller if you can tell the story from the end and then go forward. If you can, and then as you're going forward, you realize that how big the world is within this series.
And they definitely accomplished that in Alita, because at the beginning she had already gone through those Moon Wars and those Mars Wars and all that stuff.
Didn't remember it.
When they found her,
there's still so much more of the story to tell.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait to see the next movie.
Yeah,
I need to watch the manga.
So curious.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely gonna check it out.
I said watch the manga, but watch the anime.
8 is worth checking out.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to find an anime. It's not on. I swear I saw.
You might
it
need to go to Crunchyroll
a year ago or some. Probably a long time ago, I saw it on Prime, and I swear it's not on. It's not on Funimation. I checked on there.
Might need to be something you need to order.
I think they pulled it, man. They pulled that joint when this movie dropped. Mm-hmm. They do that, man. But the manga's out there.
Foreignly, it made $300 million, which gives us hope. Okay, at least they made their budget back.
Yeah.
All right. Now
that definitely put them over the edge, especially when it made They did make a lot domestically,
and I think
it didn't break even, but it was.
It didn't break $100 million, domestically, or 100 million domestically. I mean, it's only 78 million. That's terrible, man. When you look at movies like
is it?
When you look at movies like Avengers and all that stuff, these Bamas is grossing 600. Even Aquaman grossed what?
I mean,
400 million
I had never heard of
domestically.
it. Before you guys telling me, I hadn't even heard about it.
And a lot of people won't, because it looks kind of cartoony. It does, and it doesn't. It looks like it would be something for your mid-teenager kind of kid, or
they didn't
your
have
hardcore.
A big market for this.
All right. And they didn't really...
And it's not an American, like, product. So, like, you know, comics, everybody knew who the Avengers were even before... Like, everybody had an inkling of, like, oh, Iron Man.
And those movies are not necessarily...
in our culture. Alita is nothing. Nobody had any reference for what an Alita is.
Those Marvel movies are not necessarily carried all by the younger generations. I mean, there's a lot of guys like our age, 35, 40-year-old guys who grew up reading these comics that are going to see these movies as well, you know? So, if it was totally dependent on the younger generations, maybe Marvel wouldn't be doing as well, you know?
But I think it's kind of amazing when they are able to... you know, introduce these old characters to young people, and then young people fall in love with those characters.
Right.
Yeah, that's the best part about storytelling is stories work generationally, man. Like, for every new person who comes across a story that's 100 years old, it's still new to them, and they'll find something in it that may interest them, or it may just not, but there's always that potential.
That comes from that, you know what I mean? Like, when you're inspired by something, this turns into something else. You never really know who you're inspiring. So that's pretty cool.
That's
why it's like one of the coolest professions has to be like a writer, man. Like, imagine Stephen King. Imagine how many people
talking about this guy.
He's touched in his.
We were talking about this guy at work. I'm curious to look up Stephen King's net worth, man. They've been making this dude's movies, and he's been coming out with books since like the 70s.
Pet Cemetery again.
Dude, his movies have been all... There's movies that came out you didn't even know it's Stephen King. That was a novel from Stephen King. That's a novel from Stephen King. I'm like, this dude is just...
That should just be in
having
the back
royalties
of the credits
for the last 50 years.
King.
Right.
Like, oh.
And they probably do say, you know, based on a novel by Stephen King. And Stephen King got to be rich, man, because his movies have been getting made forever.
Yeah,
Lean on Me. No, I don't think it was Lean on Me. Stand By Me was a Stephen King novel. Remember Stand By Me? When they saw the dead body on the train tracks and all that, that was a Stephen King novel, man. I had no idea. I just thought it was a regular movie. I was like, oh, somebody wrote a script and that was based off a novel.
I thought I was a Stephen King junkie. Nope.
That's crazy, man. Well, hey, definitely my recommendation, go see Alita Battle Angel.
Yes.
If you're a hardcore nerd, if you like your video games, you like your anime, you will not be disappointed by this movie. I think even for like the average moviegoer, you wouldn't be disappointed by this movie either.
And the network of Stephen King.
350
mil.
World. Wait,
it's actually kind of low. I would have thought he was worth more than that.
Roughly, was net
highest
worth
paid author in the world.
$400 million.
Dude, they've been making this dude's books into movies for decades now. So like he's getting paid off the book royalties and the movie royalties. Like this dude's a star. They're still coming out with Stephen King movies, right?
And if y'all ever heard of Dark Tower, like we know they had the Dark Tower movie.
You saw Dark Tower?
I read the books. The
movie I was about to ask, was it good?
I liked it. We have it. We borrowed that. Yeah, it was good. It was a good movie.
It was a good movie? Dark Tower?
Yeah, it was a good movie.
Or are you just saying that because you like Idris Elba?
No, the books were better.
The books are way better.
A lot of times that's how it is. The books are better.
I haven't read that, actually.
They rushed the movie. It should have been... The Dark Tower movie should have been a miniseries. Or it should have been a number of movies. They shouldn't have done it all in one movie. That's the only place for me where they effed up with that.
I mean, rarely is the movie ever as good as the book. You know?
Can spend an entire chapter sitting around a fire and just thinking and
telling so much of what's going on. Yeah, but
it's totally different.
They just skip over that.
That's why when people tell me they don't like GOT, like it's like, but did you read the book? Because
and people think you're snobby when you say, "Did you read the book?" Like you don't have to read the book. You don't have to read the book, but the book is awesome, man.
It is a snobby thing to say.
If you like the show, you will love the books. That's the same story. It's just more.
Did you read the book?
I hadn't heard of the book before.
Oh, me neither.
Show. We saw the show and we sat there and was binge watching the first.
The show holds
that first
Game of Thrones
series.
down.
And then when I read the book, I'm like, wow, this makes more sense than what I just saw. And then from then, I'm like, you know.
If you like the show, you'll love the book. That's how I say.
I definitely want to go through the books, but I think I'm going to finish the series first.
But the thing is...
Because this is the last season, right?
When you fall in love with the book, sometimes you can get angry with the show.
You do. I think, speaking of that, I think the books ruined my enjoyment of the show.
Right,
Not just because I knew what was coming, but because I was mad it wasn't as good as the book. You know what I mean? Like, I was mad at some points. Like...
Yeah,
we're not gonna get into it.
Yeah.
This is not a Game of Thrones cast.
No spoilers, please.
I was just mad at some parts of the book.
At
the show, I was like, man, you're gonna do it like that? It was way better in the book. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yes. It's There's so many things in the book, and then
I'm sure all the
the show
all the
has
Lord of the Rings
passed the
people are
book.
exactly like that. All the Tolkien fans.
And you're kind of
are
mad.
pissed.
You're like, oh, you're waiting for the books to come out, but it's like
And
it's
it
already
almost
ruined.
feels like they're ruining the book because it's like you're guessing what's gonna happen. So he's probably gonna hit us with something totally different.
That's why it's taking so long. He's trying to change it.
I saw that they said that the ending for the series and the endings for the books is different.
Oh.
Right.
Like they already said that it's going to be different.
There's
Yeah.
things that have happened in the show that haven't happened in the books, and they
But
can't happen
George!
in the show because it's different in the book.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Please, George.
Oh, you're talking.
We're waiting for the books.
So are we ready to wrap up Alita Battle review?
Yeah, Alita Battle Angel.
Alita Battle Angel. Go see it.
8 out of 10.
It was a great movie.
Good movie.
I loved it. I loved when she got her sword because I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
That sword was. I was like, yo, that
I was
sword
like, she
goes
should have took that jump
perfectly.
from the beginning.
Right.
Like, yo, you whooped his ass how many times?
You should have
Just
whooped
take
his
a
ass
sword.
and took his sword.
Take
Why'd
a
you
sword,
wait? Why'd
man.
you wait to take his sword?
Yeah.
You should have took it.
Can we
He
throw
owes
into
you his
Walking
sword.
Dead here?
But she did get into a fight with that guy. What was his name? Nueska, or whatever.
yeah,
it was. The
the
guy who
big
had the
giant-
tentacle fingers. Yeah,
That was a good fight.
that was crazy when he was standing behind her with the trench coat, and I was like, "What the hell is this thing?" And yeah, it was wild.
When she first started fighting in the alley,
Right.
I'm sorry, so when she kicked that bitch in the face,
That was awesome. Yeah.
I was like, oh,
Smashed her head against the wall, and I was thinking like,
nobody's.
I want to
like,
bring this up on
what?
camera. Why would anybody do that to their bodies? Like, why would anybody?
That's a good question.
You know, the way these enemies were set up in this movie, like Alita, maybe she didn't have a choice. She was all machine, basically, right? But why would anybody want to, add a hook to their arm, or it takes away that you're not human anymore.
Like
you can't enjoy the human experience.
Into a chain
I mean,
of
I
laser.
guess
you can't
if
enjoy
we had
touch.
the
You can't enjoy
availability
feeling
to
with
do
somebody.
something like that, then our perspective would change. If you had, right now, you don't have you can't just go to the store.
But I don't
and
think
like,
anybody will
buy
want
a
to
part.
do that to themselves.
You know what I mean?
I think some people will.
Well,
Some people
okay.
do have issues with self-mutilation, right?
Right.
Exactly.
So some people don't like their bodies.
like the lizard guy.
Have you guys read? Did you guys watch that lady that was changing her pigment? She was taking melanin to make herself.
You talking about the lady
brown.
with the NAACP or something like that?
No. This lady,
Was her
she's
name
like,
Rachel?
right?
Rachel
this lady,
Dolezal?
she was like, she lives in like Sweden or Russia or somewhere like that, and she was taking melanin in order to create to make her skin
Does
brown.
she have big boobs?
Wait.
Yes, she had.
No, she's not taking melanin.
That's what she said. She
No.
said.
She's taking melanin in addition to actual like plastic surgery.
You can't like ingest melanin and have that shit come on your skin.
Plastic
It's not as
surgery.
worse.
She
It
watching
was
like a
it's
melanin
some type
soap.
of hormone that she's taking for melanin, and then
Wow.
but she had all kinds of plastic surgery. And the thing is, if
Really?
there's an
I'd love to know.
availability to do something, somebody's gonna want to do it. It's
Somebody.
so if we had the
But that was a
availability
city full
to
of
like
people.
walk around with like wings or hooks or
Mm-hmm.
something crazy, then I'm sure that there's gonna be a market for it.
And I'm sure they would do it. I'm sure there probably are people like that. Have you seen these videos about like these mechanical animals that are around? Like they'll
saw
send
the
out
one
like
with
an
the bees.
owl, and it'll look like an owl, but it's actually a machine, and it has like a camera and stuff like that. Like it's some NSA type stuff where like surveillance.
I was
and all
wrong.
that.
So it turns out you can't inject melanin in the skin.
'Cause it's
And it says when delivered by injection over the course of as little as a week, melanotan. So this is something called melanotan, but I guess it's melanin essentially. Has the effect of semi-permanently darkening the skin as though tanned by the sun.
And that's the problem. A lot of people, especially like darker skinned
White
people,
people,
have an issue with their skin color, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh man, I want to be lighter. I don't want to be in the sun, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, this is your superpower.
Especially that I want to be a lighter skin.
Is a
so what are you talking about?
superpower to be able to turn darker. And like right now, I'm at my lighter version of myself.
Mm-hmm.
But when that sun comes out, my superpower will pop up, and I love it. I don't care how dark I get. That's fine. I'll be out there all day.
That's crazy. If you want to listen to a great lecture on melanin, listen to a guy named Dr. Layla Africa. Just go to YouTube, type in Dr. Layla Africa, and he gives a great presentation on the benefits of melanin and how you can increase your melanin.
I stand corrected again. Melanotan. Sorry, this is complicated and I'm curious now. Sorry, casters, this is really off topic.
No, we went off we were supposed to be on the lead of Battle Angel. Welcome to the Intelligent Idea Talkers.
Right, welcome to the Intelligent Idea Talkers. All right, melanotan is a synthetic hormone that works by increasing the levels of melanin, a natural pigment to darken the skin. So melanotan is what she was injecting in herself. It increases your levels of melanin, it is not melanin she was injecting. Because I'm like, first off,
I mean, if people have the available, if something is available, somebody will do it.
Smack the black off somebody and pick it up and like inject
it. There's famous people that talk about how they have their butts injected with silicone and
which is crazy.
And other
crazy
fat
stuff to get.
People have used fat from their body like put in their butts.
Dude, I'll tell you this story while we're on camera. I don't know how graphic we want to get here on the Intelligent Idea Talk on the podcast, but since we're all here, I'll say it.
While we're here,
I went to a strip club once, right? Just one time, right? And
he didn't mean to go. It was accident.
I fell in there. I slipped and fell in the strip club.
It just slid right in.
I just slid right in. I was like,
he got lost, and then he was looking for the right place to go.
He was trying to get directions.
Okay, check it. So look, I got a dance. I got a dance from this girl who had a fake butt, right? Now listen, okay, it was huge, okay, and it definitely attracted the attention when she walked by, right?
Go on.
And you looking at it like, oh my god, I gotta get a dance. I gotta give her my $10. Okay, I need a lap dance. You know what I mean? Immediately, So you get a dance with her.
Accidentally.
Dude, and the joint felt like grabbing a cement bag or something like that, man.
No.
And there was no give in her butt.
Wait, did you put your thumbs in that joint?
Yeah, dude, I was trying to squeeze it and I just couldn't, it wouldn't.
Did your thumbprint stay in that joint?
I couldn't tell because she had on some like pants and everything. But it was dark. It wasn't pants, but well, see, this was a strip club where look, if I'm paying my money, if I'm not engaging in intercourse, right, and I'm paying you money to dance and everything in front of me, you better let me touch you. I'm giving you my hard-earned money. I had to go earn this money.
$10? Right? You can't touch me for $10.
See, everybody want to feel bad.
You don't work in a strip club.
Everybody want to feel bad for stripper. You know how much a stripper makes? If I make $10 a song, right?
I heard some stories.
And I dance 10 songs in an hour, it's $100 an hour. You know what I mean? Strippers make money, man. Don't sleep on a stripper. Everybody like, oh, they hoes and all this. A lot of them girls.
I would never say that they're a hoe. No,
they make a lot of money, man. They do.
But if for example,
that's my big butt.
If you're paying $10,
that's fascinating though.
If you're paying $10 and we have to go through 10 people in order to get
$100.
$100.
But you're dancing for like 3 minutes a song.
Our attention back to the booty here though. Right. Like, I was gonna say that.
How do we?
That joint was fake in the mug.
Yeah, right.
It was used though.
Oh
my god.
It was like a sandbag, yo. Like how?
It was like grabbing a bag of cement, dog. There was no kind of give. There was no like movement in it. You know what I mean?
So she was like bouncing. And it was just like.
It looked good, but you can tell the unnaturalness.
Like a basketball
in essence, it kind of made it unattractive.
So like, if you were to smack it,
like, oh my god,
it wouldn't like.
No, I mean I was smacking it, Steph. I smacked that joint. Yes, I smacked it. Yeah.
He was accidentally smacking it.
No, I purposely smacked that joint, man. I had to. I'm giving her my money. You know what I mean? Like, she making more than I do.
You know, it was like hitting the table.
Bruh, smack the mess out of that joint.
She's making more than I do.
Yes, dude. Don't sleep on strippers,
They probably do, man.
They make some good money. You go on that joint for 4 or 5 hours, you make $300, $400.
They're doing 8 hours.
People ain't making that in 4 or 5 hours.
Really shit.
But, alright, so Alita Battle Angel, guys. Go see it. Alright, we're going to wrap up this segment. Anything else on melatonin? Or melatonasis? Or whatever it is?
Melatonasis.
Right.
Nah, don't steal people's melatonin.
Don't take melatonin shots.
Melanin.
If you're white, just be white. Right? Just be happy with who you are.
Melanotan. Alright.
Right.
Peace, guys.
Peace out. During this next segment.
That was great.
The melatonasis.